You ever wake up one morning and realize your whole life's about to turn into a reality show no one asked for? Because that's exactly what happened to me the day Karen Lee Forsythe tried to burn my world down for the crime of minding my own damn business. She wanted my land. She didn't get it, but what she got instead was a one-way ticket from cupcake-wielding neighbor to federal inmate. And I'll be honest, I'm still not sure if I should laugh, cry, or send her a thank you card for reminding me why I never wanted neighbors in the first place. I'm not the type who wanted folks dropping by with welcome to the neighborhood casseroles. That's why after 2 decades working security, I cashed out and bought myself 8 acres of thick, wild North Carolina woods. No HOA, no prying eyes, just peace and enough chickens, bees and mushrooms to keep my soul busy and my fridge full. I built my place by hand, kept to myself, had friends 15 minutes away if I needed them. Trail cams were for the foxes and raccoons, not because I was expecting trouble, but trouble, as it turned out, was buying up lots right across my fence line. 3 years after I moved in, River Birch Hollow popped up like a fungus after a hard rain. Big stone gates, vinyl fences, homes stacked tight and overpriced, all ruled over by a woman with the kind of posture that says, "I was born to give orders." Karen Lee Forsythe, HOA president, master of fake smiles, and the kind of person who could make a compliment sound like a threat. I still remember the first time she tromped down my drive while I was collecting eggs, her face stuck in that squint like my mud-covered boots were a personal insult. "You must be Mr. Grant," she said, all teeth and no warmth. I just nodded. "And you must be trespassing." She didn't even blink. It started small cupcakes invitations to join her precious HOA for a symbolic fee request to open my woods for community access. Every time I said no, then showed her notarized proof that my land had never been part of their master plan. My property's been independently zoned for 100 years. No fees, no rules, no Karen. But Karen well control freaks don't take rejection well. She tried everything: noise complaints about my roosters, wild claims about my bees attacking her Pomeranian, even calling the fire marshal on me for burning leaves during burn season, mind you. None of it stuck. Eventually she went quiet, and that, let me tell you, was the loudest warning bell I've ever heard. I didn't live paranoid, but I'm not an idiot. Kept 2 wildlife cams tucked up in the trees, ostensibly for deer, but maybe a little for insurance. I started noticing things: footprints where there shouldn't be, snapped branches, a trail that looked walked on more than once. Then, wouldn't you know it, my sister calls for a long overdue family reunion in Tennessee. I almost bailed. I don't like leaving my land untended, but I figured, what's the worst that could happen? Famous last words. Came back to a smell you can't unsmell, like a rotting construction site. My clearing was piled high with rusted bathtubs, busted toilets, insulation mattresses, black garbage bags split open and spilling God knows what, barrels with faded labels, rebar tangled like metal weeds, 6 tons of waste by the end of it. My land looked like a landfill had exploded. The trail cam footage made my jaw clench. A rental box truck, 3 guys in Grant's property disposal shirts, real creative, right? Dump in with military precision. 2 hours after who shows up but Karen herself, filming the whole mess, purring into her phone about negligence and community danger. I watched her smirk on that clip more times than I care to admit, just trying to keep from smashing something. Did I lose my cool? Not yet. 20 years of security work teaches you to recognize a setup. And this reeked of orchestration. Called the sheriff, turns out the HOA had already filed a complaint, claimed they'd seen me dumping waste myself. County sent me a thick white envelope, formal code violation summons to appear, an HOA letter demanding $1.6 million in damages for environmental sabotage. I just stood at the window looking at my ruined land and felt that old, slow anger building. You want war, Karen? You just got one. First thing I did was gather every scrap of paper I ever had: deeds exemption letters, maps, emails. Printed so many pages I nearly ran out of ink. Duplicated the trail cam footage onto USBs, encrypted drives, clouds insurance, you know. Then I called Margot Salazar, my lawyer, who's 5 feet of iron will, and a professional allergy to bull. She picked up on the second ring. "You sound like someone just stole your chickens," I explained. She didn't blink. "Send me everything." By afternoon, 2 county inspectors and an environmental cop were at my door all business. I sat them at the kitchen table, hit play on the footage, watched their faces go from polite to pale. "That's not you," one asked. "Do I look like a man who'd rent a truck just to dump on his own land with his own last name on the shirt?" They took copies, promised to enter it as exculpatory evidence today, not next week. Margot called back before sunset. She'd already filed a counterclaim and advised me to get a private cleanup crew and independent testing just in case those barrels were as nasty as they looked. Turns out they were. Industrial solvents, not farm stuff. Some barrels traced back to a contractor who'd done work for the HOA. By day 3, I had a criminal investigation on my neck, but now so did Karen. Margot filed for an emergency injunction, sent every bit of video and analysis to the DA. "You've already won morally," she told me. "Now let's win legally." And we went scorched earth. Court day. Karen came dressed like a Queen Pearls binder with the HOA logo lawyer who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. Their opening speech was pure theater slideshows, property values photos Karen herself took while orchestrating the dump. Margot stood up and carved them apart: timeline, vehicle IDs, contractor records, the clip of Karen filming the mess with that smug little speech. The judge asked her if that was her voice. "Yes, Your Honor, but I was documenting." Margot handed over the smoking gun, a contractor invoice from 2020, billed to River Birch Hollow, signed by Karen. I almost felt bad for her, the way her face locked up. Almost. But then came the twist. The county's expert witness. A chemist gets up and suddenly tries to muddy the waters, downplays the danger hints. Maybe it's old farm chemicals, just enough to make the judge pause. Margot isn't having it. On cross, she asks if he'd been contacted by the HOA. He smiles, says nothing to hide. That's when I text Chris O'Connor, an old friend with a knack for unearthing digital dirt. 3 days later, he's got receipts: $12,000 consulting fee from a Delaware LLC, funds traced back to, you guessed it, an HOA legal fund, plus a PDF on the guy's Google Drive labeled "Revised Talking Points Environmental Ambiguity." Margot enters it all into evidence. The judge asks the chemist if he took money to fudge his testimony. He clams up. His lawyer begs for a recess. In the hallway, Karen's mask cracks. "You told me it was safe," I lip read as she stormed away. The judge tossed the expert, referred him to the licensing board, and ordered a new review, this time with prejudice against the plaintiffs. The house of cards fell fast. Karen's own board members started flipping, handing over statements, emails, proof she'd pressured them, funneled funds, and orchestrated the whole plot. Then came the kill shot, a voicemail Karen left for the waste contractor. "The truck comes Wednesday. Dump it near the creek. Make sure the logo shows." He'll never dig himself out of this. My jaw hurt from clenching so hard. The DA indicted her on 11 counts: environmental sabotage, fraud, conspiracy, evidence tampering, and my personal favorite, attempting to frame a private citizen. The HOA itself got dissolved for systemic fraud, their funds put into escrow to pay me and other victims. The 2 HOA-aligned officers who delayed reports, both indicted. One caved for 6 years. The other fought and got 5 suspended. When sentencing day came, Karen looked like someone had unplugged her. No pearls, no lawyer, just a small gray figure as the judge read off the charges. 12 years with a minimum of 8 before parole. Lifetime ban from any HOA board ever again. I got $850,000, most of it from the HOA insurance, and a weird sort of peace you only feel after a tornado, knowing you're still standing, but nothing will ever look quite the same. I rebuilt, hired a crew, restored the creek, put up a steel fence and cameras may be overkill. But after what I'd seen, paranoia started feeling a lot like common sense. Build a website, started sharing every document, every trick for fighting back. Folks reached out from all over, some stuck in HOA nightmares, some just wanting to tell their stories, and even Lydia Polk, a woman Karen had tormented in her last life as an HOA tyrant in Virginia. And you know the wildest part? 2 months later, I got an anonymous tip. Karen's heading to general population. New nickname's HOA. I laughed so hard I nearly fell off my porch. So do I think peace is permanent? Not a chance. There's always someone out there who wants to build fences around other people's freedom and call it order. But next time someone shows up with a clipboard and a grin, you better believe I'll be ready, and this time those cameras aren't just for the deer. Now tell me this. Where do you stand on all this? Who's got it right, me, Karen? The county, the HOA? Drop your thoughts below. Tell me if you've ever tangled with power-hungry neighbors. Or maybe you are that neighbor I don't judge, but don't just watch in silence. Justice only happens when folks like us speak up and push back. So let's hear it.